Hey guys, so I have today a 2007 Lexus IS250. Now the issue with this car, it's kind of unconventional, it's kind of a strange issue, or should I say the solution is kind of strange. And so this is the second time now that I've run into this problem. So I figured I would make a video about it. Hopefully this helps somebody out. Because if you've got one of these cars, you got an IS250 and in this 2006 to 2014 year range, if you're having transmission issues, guys, definitely watch this video because I think it'll be really helpful to you. So our customer actually brought this car over here because the check engine light was on. They said it was driving fine. They didn't really notice any issues with it. So let's go inside, let's hook up a scan tool and let's see what we've got. And as you can see, the check engine light's on. These are the codes that it's throwing. A P0751, P2714, shift solenoid A performance, pressure control solenoid D. So we've basically got a bunch of tranny codes, shift solenoid codes, but yet the customer states that the car drives fine. They haven't noticed any problem. And I actually drove the car and to me it drives fine. I didn't notice any issues with the shifting or anything else. Okay, so quick little background. Earlier this year, I owned one of these cars. I owned an 06 IS250. I bought it used, obviously, and I had the exact same issues with mine. I kept having a check engine light for all these shift solenoid codes, and actually on mine, it did not shift correctly at all. It would have a very harsh downshift into first, so when you would slow down to a stop sign, when it would downshift to first, you felt like you were getting kicked by a mule or something. It was just kicked so hard. Also, while cruising on the highway, if you wanted to pass somebody or you were trying to speed up to merge to get on the freeway, you'd put your foot down on the gas and it would take 5 or 10 seconds or longer for the car to downshift into the next gear. So it was just extremely sluggish. It wouldn't always shift into the right gear that you wanted it to shift into. It had all these problems. On mine, I was convinced there must be something wrong with the transmission. So I dropped the transmission pan. I started checking shift solenoids and all this other stuff. Everything seemed to be checking out fine. So I started doing a lot of research online. I started looking on YouTube, on forums, on a bunch of places. Come to find out, a lot of IS250 owners have had the same problem. A lot of them have had their transmissions replaced and all kinds of stuff, only to have the exact same problem even with a brand new transmission. And you guys know why? It's because this problem is not a problem in the transmission. This is actually a problem with the PCM, with the computer of the car. Now, if you're getting these codes on your car, on your Lexus, sure, there's a possibility that there could be a problem with the transmission. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that 100% of the time it's always going to be a computer, but a very large percentage of the time it will be. And if it is a computer problem, if you go in there and you start replacing shift solenoids or even replace the transmission, you're still going to have the same exact problem. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this particular car for my customer, it's actually driving fine. It's not having any of those shifting problems that mine had. The only problem is that the check engine light is on. At least that's the only problem for now. Now, it may progress and get worse to the point where it does start having shifting issues, but we don't want to let it get to that point. We want to go ahead and fix it now. So let me show you some information from Lexus that they put out on this issue. It's a technical service bulletin. So if you read all this right here, it starts saying that some of these IS250s, and by the way, it's not just 2007, it covers multiple year ranges, but some IS250s may have the malfunction indicator lamp on with trouble code P0751 and possibly P2714. And isn't that exactly the codes that we're getting right now? Then it starts saying that in order to resolve this issue, you basically have to do a software update on the computer. Now, here's the problem with this. There's been a lot of people that have taken these cars back to the dealership to get the software updated, and yet they still have the problem. The reason why, and hopefully I'll explain this correctly, but through my research, what I've learned is that not only does the software of the computer need to be updated, but also when they made these computers from the factory, the drivers that actually control the shift solenoids in the transmission, the drivers for that circuit are located inside the PCM. When they made these computers, they did not make the drivers, let's just say, heavy duty enough to be able to sustain the current flow through them. So over time, what happens is those drivers inside the PCM, they get weak, they cannot handle the current flow, and then they start to fail. And then you get this check engine light. So not only do you need a software update, but you actually need the PCM to be physically fixed. When I had my car, I happened to stumble across a YouTube video by the name of a guy named Joshua Beaumont. His shop is called Relentless Motorsports Texas, and he's actually made several videos of this and posted on YouTube. And he actually fixes these issues. As far as I know, he's the only one to actually successfully fix this issue, and he's fixed it numerous times for numerous customers. His business is essentially repairing modules out of cars. He repairs ECMs, PCMs, all kinds of different modules. I actually called him and talked to him on the phone when I had my car. I explained to him my issues and he goes, "Oh yeah, just send me the computer and I'll fix it for you." So I took my computer out, put it in a box, shipped it to him. A couple weeks later, I had it back. I installed it in my car, and to my joy and surprise, all my shifting issues were fixed. Every single last one of them. I never had a single issue with that car again. So guys, if you're having this issue on your Lexus, I highly recommend give Joshua a call, talk to him about your issues, send him your PCM, let him fix it for you. He'll do a good job. I've seen other companies that advertise that they supposedly can fix your computer, but guys, I wouldn't trust anybody other than Josh to get this issue fixed for you guys, so I highly recommend him. All right guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the computer out of the car. That way we can get it boxed up, the customer can pick it up and get it shipped over to Josh at Relentless Motorsports Texas, and we can get this thing fixed. All right, so in order to get the computer out, I got to get these plastic covers off. There's a series of push pins around here that we got to get out. Remove this cover as well to give us some space because the computer's right down here. Okay, now that you have these covers off, we have access to this box right here, and right underneath this is the PCM. So we've got 3 10mm bolts, one here, and one here. So we got to get those bolts out and we'll be able to get this cover off. Let's see what we got here. Now there is, in this cover, there is a little gasket just to keep moisture and dirt and stuff from getting out. So sometimes that gasket will get stuck down here, so make sure to get that off. The computer's right here underneath all this wiring. So there's a 10mm nut here, and then there's another 10mm nut here. So once you get those two nuts off, the computer will slide out, except it won't slide out till you get all this wiring and junk out of the way. So I think just with these 3 wires out of the way here, I should have enough room to slide the computer out. But before I do all that, let me actually go park the car where I want it to sit for a couple weeks. That way I don't have to push it out of the bay. Okay, so I've moved the car outside. It's out of the shop. So I've got it where it's gonna sit for a couple weeks or until I get the computer back. So let me unplug everything and get this computer out. And actually, before I do that, I've gone ahead and disconnected the battery. All right, that's it guys. That's what we want to see. So let me get this shipped off. So as soon as I get this computer back, I will come back with an update for you guys. Okay guys, here I am about 3 weeks later, and I finally got the PCM back. So here it is. It's been worked on and we're ready to install this. So let me go ahead and get this computer thrown back in. So let me get this back, sure. Make sure you get this all plugged in right. There's only one way this stuff can go, so I'm worried about plugging it wrong. All these other little covers and stuff that went here, the one that went up in the front, I'm gonna get that stuff put back on. I'm gonna do it off camera because I don't want to waste your guys' time. So now of course I do have to reconnect the battery over here though, so let me do that. and then I'll get this battery connected and we'll fire it up. All right, here we go. First start. Hopefully the battery's not dead. Start and die. That's typical for a first start on a Toyota after you reconnect the battery. Okay guys, so a little update for you. So I drove the car around, it drove perfectly fine, no issues. I returned the car to the customer, and it's been over a month now since the customers had their car back. I actually just called them the other day to ask them how it was going. They said that the car's been perfect. They've never had another check engine light or anything. The codes have not come back. So they're good to go, guys. I've given it plenty of time. As you can see, just from the codes and everything, this could be a really easy problem to misdiagnose. But if you guys are having similar issues, I hope this video helps, and now you guys know what to do. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.